Hey guys! Oh my goodness. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope my audio is actually okay. Great. Great. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. You are welcome to another YouTube live with me. First of all, before we get into anything, I just want to sincerely apologize for delaying, guys. I know I am very late. This is like I was supposed to start about 5 minutes past three, and this is 22 minutes past three. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. It was unintentional. I didn't want to even bore you with details of what was happening behind the scenes, but it was just chaotic. But yeah, I'm glad that we're here now. How are you all doing? Super excited or having this live conversation today. And guys, listen, there's one thing that's actually exciting me today. There's one thing that's really exciting me. So this is going to be our first post BB Niger YouTube live. Yes, like a YouTube live that is not about the Big Brother Niger show. And guys, I am so relieved. I am so excited. I am so happy. In a way, I kind of have peace of mind. I kind of have peace of mind because, see, a lot of you have no idea whatsoever what normally goes on behind the scenes before I host every live stream that has to do with the Big Brother show. It's always hectic, very hectic, very mentally draining, very emotionally exhausting. Yes. So, but for the fact that we're actually having a very different live conversation today, guys, I am so relieved. I am so relieved. I am so happy. Woo! I am excited. I am excited. Yes, I am excited that we get to talk about something entirely different. Yes, folks tale by FY, you're absolutely right. She's saying you look a bit rested. I am rested, to be very honest. I am rested. I told you all last week, Saturday, towards the end of our live conversation, that this week was going to be a self-care week for me. I want to take care of myself. I want to try to recoup lost strength. I want to take care of my body. I want to take care of my mind, my mental health. I told you all that that was what I was going to be doing this week. Although I made promises that I was going to be putting out 2 videos on, frankly speaking with Gloria Elijah, and then putting out another video on Simply Gloria Elijah, but I honestly did not do any of those things this week. A lot of things happened that just literally just made time to fly, and I apologize for that. Yes, but don't worry, guys, the channels are not going anywhere. The channels are here. We're going to put out content regardless. We're going to put out content. Yes, but really, I am happy, I am relieved, I am excited that we're doing something different today. And this is something that we've been pushing forward to the longest time. I announced to you mid-season of Big Brother season 10 that after the show, we were going to analyze the Game of Thrones TV series. Yes. Last week, I actually mentioned, thank you so much, David. Said fresh, bubbly, vivacious looking. Glad you're doing good. Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much. I am actually very much rested and I'm happy. I'm happy that I am rested. Yes. So, I told you all that we're going to analyze the villains of Game of Thrones. I announced this mid-season of the Big Brother show. I also announced it. In fact, literally every Saturday I've been announcing it. So today is that day. Today is that day, and I'm super excited because courtesy of, I think his name is Sadiq. Yes, if I am not wrong, Sadiq. Sadiq is also a huge fan of the show and is usually like the first person on our live streams. He's always here. Like he's literally always here. I don't know if he's around today. Yeah. So courtesy of him, we are analyzing the show today. So on my list here, I actually have 6 villains, like the greatest of them all. 6 villains. Although a lot of people are going to tell you that there are actually four of them the entire season. Now we're talking about people that were actually very, very consistent in their villainness, right? But for me, On my list, I actually kind of have like six, and these are people that actually very, very twisted upstairs. People, individuals that would do whatever it takes for power. Now, before I even get into it, for those of you that are yet to watch the Game of Thrones TV show, trust me, you really need to watch it. You really, really need to watch it. If you're the kind of person that actually enjoys um, um, mind games, if you're the kind of person that actually enjoys very brain tasking um, TV shows that are not too easy, right? By that, what I mean is you're watching the show, but you totally do not even know what's going to happen next. It's totally unpredictable. It's not easily, you don't easily see what's going to happen coming. All right. You think you've completely analyzed the show in your head, but then boom, something else happens. Completely unpredictable, very exciting to follow, never boring. Never really boring at all. Very interesting. Game of Thrones is one of those shows that you totally need to catch up on. So I'm going to just assume that a lot of you here on this live today have actually watched the show. All right. I'm just going to blindly carry on with this conversation like everybody right now has actually watched it. Okay. But if you haven't, don't worry. I think this analysis that we're going to do right now is probably going to inspire you to go ahead and watch the show. All right. So, yeah, as I said, having watched all seasons of Game of Thrones and already even started the new one. That's is it House of Dragons? Yes, I've actually started that one as well. On my list here, I actually have six names. So there's Ramsay Bolton, there's Joffrey Lannister, there's Cersei Lannister, there's Lord Peter Baelish, there is Daenerys Targaryen, and then there's also Jaime Lannister. For me, these are my personal ultimate villains, and each of them comes with their own special and unique spice. And I think for those of you that have actually followed me in this community for a while now, you know that Gloria Elijah actually loves the villains in every TV show just as much as I actually love the good guys. Yes, I love the good guys as much as I love the bad guys, and vice versa. For me, the presence of the villains also brings another kind of excitement to the show. Without the villains, I don't think any show can actually stand the test of time. Yeah. So the villains are always there to bring the spice. The villains are always there to give you something to think about, to give you that apprehension, to give you that anticipation, to make you wait to want to see what's going to happen next. Yeah. So without the villains in all of these TV shows, trust me, it's going to be boring as hell. Yeah, it's going to be boring. So I'm going to start with my most and absolute favorite, and that is Ramsay Bolton. Yeah, Ramsay Bolton, the bastard son of Lord Bolton. See, if there's anything I love about Ramsay, it's the fact that the guy knows how to play the sickest games ever. Yeah. Now, what do I mean? The guy is, he's got a devilish mind, right? He's got a devilish mind. I don't know how he was raised. I don't know how he was raised. I mean, at some point on the show, that's a particular season where he appeared, you could tell that he lived for the validation of his father. That's his stepfather. He lived for the validation of his father. He's a bastard son, obviously. And in those times in Westeros, as a bastard son, you are not entitled to the inheritance of your father. So before you are entitled to that inheritance, you probably must have done everything in the books or probably out of the books to want to please your father, to find yourself worthy of being called even his son, to find yourself worthy of even named after him, of getting named after him. So that is one thing that Ramsay Bolton had been fighting for his entire life. Although on the show, we did not see how he grew up. Maybe it's written in the books because these are all adaptations from actual books, right? Yeah. So maybe in the books it's actually there. I haven't read the books. I don't have time to read the books. They're ginormous. Yes. But on the show, we did not really get to see how he grew up. We did not get to we did not get to understand really his story, save for some of the conversations that he has here and there with his father. Yes. And of course, the very, very ridiculously high expectations that his father places on him every time. There's always a target to reach, there's always a goal to reach, there's always a mission that the father is giving to him. And this guy literally goes out of his way to achieve everything and anything that his father demands of him. And when you see the father, Lord Bolton, he looks like a very, very normal human being, but he himself is very much twisted. He's very twisted, and he's fully aware that his son, Ramsay, his bastard son, is very, very twisted. He knows that Ramsay is twisted. He knows that Ramsay is sick. He knows that the guy is mad. But for him, it's not a bad thing so long as it works for his advantage, right? So Ramsay was more like that twisted weapon in his arsenal against his enemies. So every time he has the dirty job, he sends Ramsay. Anytime he wants to steal someone's property or anything of that nature, Ramsay is the man for the job. Now, Ramsay, on the other hand, has his goons, his army, he has his followers, people who are loyal to him. He has this lover and her friend who satisfy all of his weird sexual needs, and sadly, one of the lovers ended up becoming food or sport for his dogs, which he called the horns. I hope I got that pronunciation right. Now Ramsay, as I said, Ramsay is so twisted that for him, nobody is special. Yeah, nobody is special. Nobody is special. There's nothing really special about anybody. The only person that is actually special is him himself. And I mentioned before that he lives for the validation of his father. But aside living for the validation of his father, one thing he also lives for is power. He loves for people to be afraid of him. He loves for people to not necessarily respect him, but just fear him. Yeah. So that is the character of Ramsay Bolton. Now, what made him my favorite villain, like the ultimate villain of the entire show? It's the fact that it does not really think about the kind of cruelty to met out to people. He just goes out of his way to do it. Yeah, he just goes out of his way to do it. As I said, about Ramsay, nobody is too special. Nobody. I, for one, thought that when Sansa was sold to his father, to marry him just so that they can actually inherit Winterfell. I thought that was going to soften him a bit because Sansa is beautiful. As a matter of fact, she's gorgeous, silly, stupid little girl that was very annoying from the very beginning of the show, but later on grew on a lot of us, the viewers, as she started growing in wisdom and experience in life, based on the many cruelties that she had actually had to experience in her life as she evolved. I thought that the presence of Sansa in his life was going to soften him up. But instead, for no single reason whatsoever, this guy just started abusing this girl for no reason whatsoever. And it goes to also show you the animalistic nature that he possesses. The guy has a monster in him that craves to be fed, that craves to be satisfied at every given point in time. It tells from the way he satisfies himself sexually. It tells from the way he lives carelessly. And also there's a thing about the games that he plays. For him, human beings are just like food to be fed to his dogs. And that is like the cruelest punishment he metes out to anybody that crosses his path. You do not have to offend Ramsay. The moment he does not like you, you are food for his dogs. The moment he finds you offensive as a human being, you become food for his dogs. And the unpredictability of his nature, I think that is what really gives me that kick whilst watching the show. Every time I watch the show, I always look forward to the season where he appears because the guy just brings this level of danger, this sense of excitement, to every scene that he appears. When you talk about somebody that's actually sick, mentally deranged, Ramsay is mentally deranged. I'm talking about the character of Ramsay now. Very, very mentally deranged. And I think that's also what makes him very exciting. I love his character. I love his character. I love the fact that he does not really care about anybody that much, say for himself. The way he killed his dad. And I think what his father did to him was sort of like the ultimate betrayal for him. Remember, I mentioned that he has been living for his father's validation for the longest time. In fact, all his entire life. He has conquered a whole city for his father, taking over a whole place for his father, only for his father to go and get married to a younger wife. And then the wife was pregnant, and then she delivered a baby boy, whom the father did not shy away from telling him to his face that this is the person that's going to be the new Lord Bolton. And that completely shattered Ramsay's dream of ever bearing the name of his father, Bolton. And so what did he do? He killed his father. And that did not end there. He fed his father's wife and his father's newborn baby to his dogs. That scene was very disturbing, very, very traumatizing. Very traumatizing. But in a way, it was kind of satisfying for me because I felt like, come on, man, this boy, you've literally turned this boy to your assassin from a very young age. He's done everything that you want him to do. He satisfied all of your crazy demands, and you've been making promises of blessing him with your name, your household name. And guys, mind you, the thing of name is something that's a thing of pride, very important in that time in Westeros. So this is one thing that Ramsay Bolton had always ever lived for. But then at the end of it all, his father betrayed him by marrying a younger woman, impregnating her, and then declaring that when she gives birth to a boy, that child is going to become the new Lord, meaning that his life of servitude is going to continue because the new child is going to become Lord over him, and he has to be answering to this new child. So, yeah, it was really traumatizing, the scene where he fed his stepbrother and the mother to his dogs, but in a way, it was kind of satisfying. Yeah, for me, it was kind of satisfying. And another scene that got me terrified of this character, but also got me applauding him for his strategic mind, was the Battle of the Bastards. I think that was in season 7. I'm not really sure. Was it season 8? I'm not really sure at this point. Yes, but that was the Battle of the Bastards when he promised what's his name now, Jon Snow, of the exchange. He was going to release Jon Snow's brother to him. And yeah, that was going to abate the war. Everybody thought that, okay, that was what was going to happen. Like I said, Ramsay Bolton is a very exciting character, very unpredictable. Nobody knows what he's thinking, not even his men, not even his trusted commanders in his army. None of them knows what he's thinking. The guy is very unpredictable. The guy has a very, very twisted mind. Yeah. So they had agreed on this exchange. Okay, fine. Return my brother and there will be no war. And everybody thought that was exactly what was going to happen. But then lo and behold, oh my goodness, Ramsay decided to turn Jon Snow's brother into sports, into a game. Told the guy, oh, little man, let's play a little game. You will run to your brother and then let's see how you can dodge whatever. And guys, that scene was so it was so fucked up. By the ways, the Battle of the Bastards was literally the best. I think it was the best battle scene of the entire show. Yeah, the entire show. Is it the battle for Westeros where Arya Stark finally killed the Night King. It was kind of exciting, yeah, but not really my favorite. It was the Battle of the Bastards that was my absolute favorite battle in the entire show. Yeah. But anyways, as I was saying, um, Jon Snow's brother, I can't remember his name to be honest. This dude was running, and Ramsay Bolton was having fun, firing shots of arrows towards this guy, Jon Snow. Oh, and by the way, guys, argue with me from now to tomorrow. I'll tell you for free that Jon Snow was very unsmart. The guy, people saw him as a good guy on the show, but I saw him as one of the dumbest and one of the weakest of all the good guys, if there's anything like that. Because on the show, nobody was entirely good and nobody was entirely bad. You know, one minute you're liking the good guys, and then the next minute they're actually switching sides and becoming the villains. And then the next minute you are hating the villains, but then before you know it, the villains are actually becoming the good guys who are actually helping the good guys to conquer the bad guys. So that's how exciting that the entire show is. But still back to Jon Snow. Nah, Jon Snow, he was too weak. And I'm glad he ended up not becoming the king of the entire Seven Kingdoms, because when we talk about one person that is just completely undecisive, does not know what to do with his life, does not know how to make decisions, that was Jon Snow. And he was also very weak because we see how he could easily be swayed by what he felt was love. And for every time he loved a woman, he ended up dying for it. Yeah. So the guy was just very annoying. I'm gonna be honest. Jon Snow was very annoying, very very annoying. But because of how gullible Jon Snow was, especially in trying to, you know, carry out such an exchange with Ramsay Bolton, he ended up losing his brother. And you know what was really annoying? I think Sansa had warned him. Sansa had warned Jon Snow that you cannot trust Ramsay because the guy does not think like a normal human being. The guy is not your regular type of warlord. He's not your regular type of person that you think you can have an agreement with and you will honor that agreement. The guy has no honor. He has no honor. He does not think anybody is special. So, what makes you think you can actually have an agreement with him and think that he will honor the agreement? Somebody is actually disagreeing with me about Jon Snow. Said, I'm going to agree with you concerning Jon Snow. Jon Snow is okay. The thing is about honor. Honor was a disease to the Starks, and that's why Ned Stark died. Yes, I agree with you, but when you talk about this honor, right, it made them gullible. And mind you, it's all about the game, the battle for the throne, right? The battle for the throne, the games that all of these individuals were playing towards reaching the claim for the throne, right? And when you talk about one person that was very gullible, Jon Snow. Jon Snow was very, very gullible. The guy was very gullible. It was let me just leave it. We're gonna get there. But I understand where you're coming from. Honor was a thing for the Starks family, but they were also very, very gullible as well. It was the same mistake that Ned Stark made. Littlefinger had warned Ned Stark, but they were carrying honor and respect and their name on their head. And Ned Stark, for one, ended up losing his head for it. Yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, Ramsay Bolton, my favorite and my best villain of the entire show. I love the guy, regardless of what people say about him. I love the guy. He's that one person that you just love to hate. You love to hate him, but at the same time, you just love the twisted fuckery that goes on in his head. You want to know what he's thinking, but you can never know what he's thinking. Anyways, quickly moving on to my second favorite um villain of the entire show, Joffrey. Joffrey Baratheon or Joffrey Lannister. But because of the abominable circumstances surrounding his birth, of course, his name is Joffrey Baratheon. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about that child that was just very, very spoilt right from birth, anything the child wants, you give it to the child. Anything the child wants, you give it to the child. Even when the child says, okay, I don't like this maid, kill the maid. And you go ahead and you kill the maid for that child. That is the monster that's Cersei Lannister raised to become Joffrey Baratheon. Joffrey was twisted. See, you can, there's a lot of similarities between Joffrey and Ramsay Bolton, right? If Joffrey was still alive up until his 30s, I believe strongly that he would have been worse than Ramsay Bolton. Yeah. In all of the mindfuckery and all of the twisted games that Ramsay Bolton was playing, trust me, in a way, I felt like there was a bit of rationality behind every single one of them. Why? Because he was trying to secure his status with his father. He was also trying to protect himself in a twisted kind of way. But when it comes to Joffrey Baratheon, Joffrey has no reason whatsoever for doing anything. The guy was just mean. He was just wicked, like just evil. See, Joffrey does not think before doing things. He just does it because he knows that he can actually do it. He knows that he can do it and get away with it because he's the son of the king. And then when he became king, he knew that yeah, whatever. I am king of the Seven Kingdoms, even though he was the illegitimate king, of course. But for him, I am king of the Seven Kingdoms. Nobody can say no to my decrees, to my demands. I would do whatever the F I want to do. And because he is a spoiled, indulged brat, his mother, Cersei, indulged every single thing that he did. The guy got away with anything and everything that he wanted. And the one person, in fact, a lot of people around him suffered for everything. But one person that really suffered a lot was Sansa and his uncle, the imp, Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion Lannister, by the way, is my all-time favorite cast member, or let's just call him my all-time favorite character of the entire show. I love the guy. There is one of his favorite sayings that I always use for myself, where he said, I love knowing things. Same thing for me. I love knowing things. I love information. I love having information. And Tyrion Lannister is such a huge inspiration. The guy knows something about everything. He reads voraciously. The guy reads a lot. Anyways, we're not talking about the good guys today. We're talking about the bad guys, right? And still on Joffrey Baratheon. Joffrey meted out evil for no reason. He doesn't think, he just acts. It just acts. It just does whatever he wants to do. And that was what kind of led to his death. Yeah. Now, as much as Joffrey was such a twisted little evil king, one thing I loved about him that made him stand out as one of my favorite villains of the entire show is the fact that he commanded fear. He did not command respect, but he commanded fear. He commanded fear in the sense that because of how ruthless and brutal and savage he was, nobody in the kingdom, especially in King's Landing, nobody in King's Landing dared to go astray of the rules of the king. Even his own mother was afraid of him. Even his grandfather, that he made hand of the king, was scared of him. Everybody was afraid of Joffrey. And you see here, in the entire show, I think it was in season 8 that I really missed Joffrey's presence in King's Landing. And that was when that useless, stupid, annoying, disgusting High Sparrow and is it the Scepter? What did they call him? When they took over the whole of King's Landing, when they disgraced and humiliated Queen Cersei. I hated, I hated that religion. I hated whatever they believed. I hated whatever they stood for. As evil and as twisted as Cersei Lannister was, I was praying so hard for our own revenge against that so-called High Sparrow. I hated that High Sparrow. Like, I was waiting to see the way he was going to die. And in my mind, I was already fashioning out so many cruel ways that the guy was going to meet his Waterloo on the show. Yeah. But as I was saying, as much as Joffrey was very, very, very wicked, very evil, very twisted, I loved the kind of fear he commanded. Everybody was afraid of him. And in a way, you will agree with me that in King's Landing, because of how morally decadent the whole thing was, everybody was, in a way, his cruel reign as king was sort of needed, to bring decorum to the land because they needed it. There was a lot of debauchery going on there. There was a lot of rubbish going on there, right? But the downside to it was that everything he was doing was excessive. He was very, very uncontrollable. Not even his mother could advise him, to a point that he even threatened the mother. When the mother slapped him out of anger, he threatened the mother that the next time the mother slapped him, she was going to die. And the mother, too, was scared, right? Now, I was saying that I missed Joffrey Baratheon when his brother became king. What's that his stupid brother's name? Is it Matthew or what? That his brother was so stupid, so annoying, so gullible, so useless. Jesus, so useless. I've had this debate with myself over and over and over again that if I had Joffrey and the other son as my children, which of them would I prefer? Would I prefer the one that is okay? Yeah, Tommen. Thank you so much, Joseph. Tommen. That is the name of the other brother. I have asked myself, if I had Joffrey Baratheon as my son and also had Tommen as my other son, which of them as a mother would I choose to save? And which one would I kill? Ladies and gentlemen, I do not pray to have such sons, but I kid you not, I chose Joffrey over Tommen because Tommen was stupid. The guy was stupid, very daft, very stupid, very gullible, did not learn anything from his brother or his father. And his father tried to advise him. But then again, it also turned out that the advice his father gave to him that, a wise king, or rather a good king, is a wise king that gets advice from his advisors, but also has a mind of his own that knows what to do, blah, blah, blah. The guy ended up receiving advice from the wrong people. To the point that because his mother, via all of her schemes and deceits, arrested his wife, Queen Marjorie, by the way, guys, see, oh my God, fantastic characters. Queen Marjorie, he decided to also dish out the same punishment to his mother. Like, how can you, as a king, sit down and give such enormous power to the church to take charge of the kingdom? How? And then they arrested your mom and you did nothing about it. And you allowed them to torture your mom. And then you kept on saying, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just a king. I leave it all to God, to the gods. It was so annoying. And you see, to date, every time I just want to get some satisfaction, as to how Cersei Lannister dealt with that so-called High Sparrow and those, her son, all of them, I just go back and replay that scene where she and what did they call that guy's name? I can't remember his name, but in quotes, the scientist, right? How they put green flame, on the ground and blew up the entire Red Keep. Was it the Red Keep? They blew it up. The way they killed everybody, all of their enemies, gathered in one place. The way they blew all of them up. I said, yes, that was very, very satisfying. I loved it. I loved it. And Tomon, of course, knowing how much he had really fucked up, knowing how much he had really betrayed his mother, his wife, and everybody, and of course the shame. The guy took his own life. Yeah, he took his own life. So as I said, I would choose Joffrey anytime, any day over Tomon because Tomon is just that child that, because of so-called love, because of his feelings, because of his emotions, he would definitely kill his parents. He would definitely sell his mother for that, and that was exactly what he did. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I know that there was no way that Icept, that whole church business, there was no way they were going to pull off all of that stupid stunt if Joffrey was alive. Because I kept on asking myself, okay, so when Joffrey was alive, where were they? Why did they not pull their force? Why did they not pull their weight? Because they knew that they could not even survive. In fact, they did not even come close. They were silent. They were quiet. Oh, the high sparrow. Thank you very much. They were quiet. They were silent. They could not do jack. But the moment Joffrey died, they came out because they knew that Tomon was very gullible, very weak. Yeah. So Joffrey stood out for me on the show. All right. Now, quickly on to Cersei Lannister. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care whatever argument anybody argues. But as far as I'm concerned, in my eyes, everything Cersei Lannister did, the entire show, both good, both evil, for me, it was outstanding. It was so evil and twisted, I was impressed. For me, oh, on a show, if we're going to have a villain, let that villain be the villain till the end. Cersei was the villain from start to finish. Never for once did she catch a break in being her evil self. She was so evil, she reveled in her evilness. She reveled in her wickedness. She reveled in her cruelty. And I think a lot of people kind of misunderstood why she did a lot of the things that she did. For me, I felt like the reason she did a lot of the things that she did was because she was trying to protect her children. She loved her children, yes. And I think somebody actually said it on the show, I think it was Tyrion Lannister that said it on the show, that the only person Cersei loved was herself and her children. Cersei's love for her children, oh my goodness. Nah, when you talk about how a mother loves her children, no matter if she birthed monsters, that was Cersei. That was Cersei. And in a way, I was kind of pained for her when the only good child that she had was killed, you know, in revenge for what her grandfather had actually done to someone else's sister. Yes. So the death of her daughter was really painful. Also, looking at the way the daughter died, it was just very painful. It was very painful. Anyway, it was sort of some sort of I think retribution, right? Because she too, she's not a good person. But Cersei Lannister, oh my god, when she rose to the position of queen of the Seven Kingdoms, even though it was sort of short-lived, I was proud of her. I was happy for her because there was no other person that was truly deserving of that throne. All right. And that is in the whole of King's Landing. Of all of her brothers, her father, everybody around her, I felt like she was the most deserving because she was very strategic. She was very strategic. She was very brutal, very ruthless. Her mind, she understood the politics of ruling a kingdom, whether she was female or not. Yeah. And you know, in Westeros at the time, they did not believe in giving such a high position to a woman. So she proved them wrong that even though she's a woman, she can equally, in fact, even exceed the excellence of a man. Even her twin brother, who of course, was also her lover, Jamie. Jamie could not have ruled the Seven Kingdoms the way she was actually holding it down. She was holding it down. She was handling business and she was really feared. Yeah. So I loved the woman that she was. Now, quickly, I'm going to move on to Lord Baelish. Lord Baelish. Ladies and gentlemen, if Lord Baelish opened a school today to teach people the art of manipulation, to teach people the art of deception, the art of mindfuckery, I would definitely be the first student to register for that school, because that man, listening to him talk was an art in itself. Watching the way he moved, watching the way he played the game of Thrones, as the name of the show was. Oh my goodness, it was so, what's the right word? I'm trying to use another word for engaging. It was very engaging. It was very, very immersive. Let me use that word. It was very immersive. The man was so good. The way he was playing everybody around him, the way he betrayed Ned Stark, the way he betrayed Sansa. Nah, the man is good. The man is good. If you want to learn, if you want to learn pure, refined manipulation, you need to watch the show. You need to listen to Lord Baelish's conversations. You need to pay attention to the way he moves around people. That guy, he's ruthless. He's ruthless. And the way he died, oh my goodness, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I loved the way he played his role, the way he maneuvered his way around different people, the way he rose from a common street boy to that position of power. That was interesting. And I know that if there's one thing I actually learned from Lord Baelish is that you cannot be friends or enemies with everybody. You just have to maintain some sort of neutral ground with everybody, and everybody can equally be a pawn in your game. You can use anybody and everybody however way you want to use people. Just be smart about it. Just understand how to go about it. And so long as you have a smooth tongue, so long as you're very, very deceptive, you can always get people to do what you want them to do. And that was exactly how Lord Baelish played his game. And I also think that him having a brothel, that was also very, very strategic because, during those times in Westeros, a brothel is where any and everybody can actually converge to live out their wildest sexual fantasies, right? So the fact that he had like the biggest and the most um patronized brothel in King's Landing, it sort of opened the doors to even the high and mighty, the most powerful in, I think, yeah, in the whole of King's Landing and most parts of the Seven Kingdoms. They patronized him, and by so doing, he sort of gained a lot of connections. Yeah, he gained a lot of connections and could equally gain favors from even the high and mighty. And you see, from then onwards, he was able to stretch the boundaries of his connection to the whole of the Seven Kingdoms. And I think that was how he was able to build his network of whisperers, where from as big as the Seven Kingdoms was, he had people everywhere that gave him information of what was happening all over the Seven Kingdoms. So sometimes, it was very, very surprising how the man would be in the Seven Kingdoms and then something was happening in, seven seas away, and he already knows what's happening. So if you're looking for something, you're looking for information, you're looking for somebody that has gone missing for many years, just go to Lord Baelish. Lord Baelish has the contacts, he has the connection to find you what you're looking for. That is how connected he was. So when you watch him, his character is a character that I really, really love because Trust me, if somebody like Lord Baelish existed in a place like Nigeria today, that guy could easily become the president of Nigeria, and people are going to love him because very manipulative. Anyways, on to Jamie Lannister. Ladies and gentlemen, two things that really stood out for me about Jamie Lannister, aside the fact that he was fucking his twin sister, has three kids with his twin sister, the incest of it and the incest of it all. It was the way he just shoved off. What's that boy's name now? The crippled boy. I'm trying to remember his name. It was the way he pushed him off, you know, the window at the beginning of the season when he and Cersei Lannister were actually shagging in that tower. The way he just did it. But then again, it was also the way he turned a new leaf. It was the way he reduced his wickedness because the guy was very wicked, like very, very wicked. There was something he said to the giant lady. I can't remember their names right now, anyways, but there's something he said to her. He said he and the sister, they are very hateful people, but he loves his sister like that. He knows, he recognizes that they are very, very wicked people, but they love each other that way. So he went back to his sister. But anyways, what we'll get there. It was the way he was so wicked, so mean. Like, as a true soldier, the only thing he understood was go and kill, go and kill, go and kill, right? But then later on, he became one of the good guys. Brandon Stark. Thank you very much for blessing. Brandon Stark, the little boy who ended up becoming the king of the Seven Kingdoms at the end of the whole show, right? So the way he now turned a new leaf, not entirely, of course, because on the show, people did what they had to do to survive, right? So that's why I said before that even those who you felt like were the good guys, at some point they became the bad guys and vice versa, right? So at some point, he became one of the good guys, not entirely, but he became a bit more reasonable, right? And then the part that I will never forgive, this one I take it very personal, was when he met, what's that woman's name? Lady something something. So I can't remember her name, but the giant lady that became a knight, right? That lady was a virgin. She was a virgin. She had never met Brienne of Tart. Thank you very much, Fond Blessing. Fond Blessing, you're truly a part of the show. She was a virgin. She had never lain with any man. And for the first time, she fell in love with Jamie Lannister. And then just when she thought she had met the man of her dreams, Jamie Lannister took her virginity. And then the morning after, he left and he went back to King's Landing, back to his evil twin. Ah, ladies and gentlemen, it was painful. Ah! My God, it was painful. It was painful. It was like, it was so unbelievable. This guy literally went back. But you see, at the same time, in a way, I kind of felt like, well, Brienne of Tart, she had it coming. She had it coming because she had somebody that was pining for her. She had somebody that was dying to be her mate. She had somebody that was professing love to her, love and affection. But she did not give the guy any attention. Instead, she carried her prized possession to Jamie Lannister. Jamie Lannister took it all and then left. Left to go and die. Nah, that was really sad. That was really sad. That was really sad. That was really painful. Really painful. But anyways, quickly moving on to the last on my list, Daenerys. the mother of dragons, Daenerys Targaryen. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people actually thought like she was one of the best of them all. But in a way, I feel like I kind of sensed that this one, she's a nutcase right from the very beginning. I kind of sensed that she was going to be like her father, the Mad King. I kind of felt like, now this one, she's got mommy and daddy issues upstairs. She's crazy. She's cuckoo. Because, when she finally lost it at the end and literally burnt down an entire city, King's Landing, as as revenge on Cersei for killing her trusted advisor, Miss Sandy. I said that nah, this one, it's long overdue. Like I saw the signs from I think from the very first or two episodes when she was shown. Because it's always been there. There's always been the signs that one day Daenerys was going to go crazy. One day, Daenerys was going to go mad, but nobody knew when it was going to happen exactly. But we knew that it was going to happen. Some people did not think it was going to happen. Some people were actually shocked that, oh my God, she literally burnt down an entire King's Landing, killing men, women, children, everybody that crossed her path. She burnt them all down with dragon fire. And people thought that, oh, it wasn't going to happen. But guys, it was coming. It was coming. It was just a matter of time. It was coming. And the scariest part was how she felt no form of remorse. And then how she started seeing herself as the savior of all the slaves. I think that whole thing got into her head. Lily saying that she was a real nutcase, a case of craziness runs in some families. Exactly. Like when she guys, it's just a lot, it's just a lot, but she was really crazy. The fact that she felt no sign of remorse, that was insane. And then she said she was going to continue her course, going from one kingdom to the other, liberating all the slaves. And our own definition of liberation is burning down an entire kingdom or an entire city, regardless of if children were also going to die in the process. For her, that was our own way of liberating slaves, So, if there was one thing that Jon Snow did right in the entire show, it was killing Daenerys. Yeah, for me, that was the one thing that he actually really did right. He did the world a favor. I mean, that world, he did that world a favor. Because if she was still alive, ladies and gentlemen, anyways, I'm going to go ahead now. I've exhausted my list, but I want to hear from all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link to this conversation because I want to hear from you guys. Who were your favorite villains from the entire show? Come on here, click on the link in the comment section below. Come share with us and let us know why he or she is your favorite villain of the entire show. All right, so whilst we're waiting for people to come on here to speak, I'm going to take this comment from Fun Blessing. Fun Blessing said, I felt bad for Daenerys' death, Sha. She didn't deserve it. A lot was taken from her. I totally agree with you. I kind of felt bad, but for me, it was such a huge relief, when she finally was killed. Blessing also said, glory to me, Cersei was more of a mad queen than Daenerys. It's just that Dany already had that legacy since her dad was a mad king. Yes, yes. No, Cersei was mad. Cersei, Cersei was mad. Just like her son, she was mad. She was mad. Let me see. Yeah. Guys, go ahead, click the link in the comment section if you want to share. Looking out for your comments. Um, Let me see. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Sadiq said, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or die. There is no middle ground. Absolutely. And I felt like that was why most of the characters were going extreme in all of their actions. They were all doing what they had to do to live, to survive the Game of Thrones. Hi, Mara. Good to have you here. How are you?
I'm fine. Hi, Glory.
Hi. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you for having us and having
You're
this
welcome.
conversation about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To me, if I was to, put from, let me say, top villains in the Game of Thrones, I think I would go with Cersei Lannister, the Queen of the
Okay.
Seven Kingdoms. Let herself proclaimed ruler.
Yes.
She was ruthless, cunning, very manipulative. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I know, I can't believe I'm saying this. One of the things I loved about her is how she fiercely protected her family.
Yeah.
And I think the only person that lady cared about was herself and her kids.
Yeah.
And another thing that I noticed about her character was she was power hungry. And when you look at Cersei's impacts, her actions, like orchestrating Robert's death, arming the faith militant, destroying the Great Sept Drive. She was like you could her fingers were in everything. She was just she couldn't keep her fingers to herself. And she was
Mm-hmm.
very defiant against all rivals.
Mm.
And when you look at her, she's very complex. She's not a one-dimensional evildoer
Mm.
because the love she has for her children, Jamie, humanizes her on one front, yet her paranoia and willingness to sacrifice innocent also highlight her moral decay, you know. And you know, she was so desperate to gain control, to have power, and this made her do a lot of things that never made sense.
Mm.
Um, when you look at reflection, because one of the things I do when I watch these shows is just try and mirror it with society. So when I mirror her character with the societal reflection, she embodies corrupt politicians,
Mm-hmm.
elite who cling to power at all costs. Very good example. I'll take the president of Equatorial Guinea. We have our neighbor here, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president of Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I think we can count the number of presidents we've had in different countries that have willingly said, I've served my people and I think it's time for me to rest. And that's for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's only two. I would count Nelson Mandela and Benjamin Mkapa of Tanzania. We had our dictator for 24 years, Moi. Then for us, I think our saving grace is when you change the constitution. So right now, you can only run for 2 terms. You can't run more than 2 terms. And our current president is trying to change it to 7 through his cronies. So you look at Game of Thrones and you look at, I don't know about the rest of the world, but when I look at Game of Thrones, I just try to reflect it with Africa, with everything that just happens within the continent of Alkebulan.
Mm.
And it makes me wonder, the people that wrote the book and the script makes me think, like, what were they thinking? What are they seeing that some of us are not seeing? We just get to see when we watch the movie. Yeah. Um I think, yeah, she would take my number one. My number two would be Joffrey Baratheon. Season 1 to 4. He was cruel, sadistic, entitled, and very mature. Um, his execution of Ned Stark, and setting his tyrannical rule alienates, alienates allies, fuels rebellion, and it just makes him a catalyst for chaos. It's and his complexity, unfortunately, he lacks depth compared to other villains. I'm sorry. And his villainity just stems from unchecked privilege and cruelty rather than nuanced motives.
Mm.
And his upbringing, um, I would say he he needed to have just gotten a couple of knuckles on his head. Maybe it would have helped a little bit. Yeah. And when I reflect his character to societal reflections, he represents the dangers of unchecked power and immature or unqualified hands. The people who you see them rise into positions of power, and not because they earned it, but would be because of affiliation to certain powerful figures.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're in power, you just get to see their maturity and qualified hands yet play.
Mm-hmm.
They're very nepotistic,
Mm.
and they don't have substance, they don't have depth. They're those people who they don't have accountability. They're very sadists, and the cruelty. I mean, they're so detached from reality to an extent whereby they just live in their own cocoon. My number three
Mm-hmm.
would be Ramsay Bolton, uh, and I see him in 3 to 6. And I don't know why most of the characters in Game of Thrones were sadistic and psychopaths, calculating and power obsessed. Like almost everybody. I
They were fighting
Jesus.
for a throne.
You, I mean, I think for the longest I just wanted, and I think it's nativity on my part and visual thinking. And in my head, I'm like, okay, whoever came up with this script, they couldn't be just one person. Just give us hope, something. Then I remind myself, this is politics. They are fighting for the throne. What do you expect? What do you really expect? Ramses, traits, he was sadistic, as a psychopath, calculating, power obsessed equally. And when you look at his impact, do you remember the torture of Theon and murder of his family? That scene. Oh my God. Ah, Jesus. Let me just keep quiet. Let me just keep quiet. Oh, and let's not forget Littlefinger, Master of the Coin, Protector of the Veil. Jesus. Equally, I think all of them, they were told, if you want to play any character in Game of Thrones, you have to be very manipulative. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
very deceitful. Your
Mm-hmm.
ambition has to be seen. You have to be very obsessed with power. Because you look at them, every single person in Game of Thrones embodied these traits. And yeah, I think it's one of the series I've really, 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 really enjoyed watching and rewatching. Because when you look at it, when you look at this series from a point of like a learning curve and not like just entertainment, it opens your mind to a lot of things that happen just around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, like in my country, all these people, I can be able to say this politician embodies this character in Game of Thrones.
For real. For real.
Okay, Mama, it was really nice having a conversation with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
And
much, Mara. You wanted to say something?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, and oh no. Before I forget, um, are you going to do a little bit of a tour of Africa this time around? Because I know you normally do a bit of it after Big Brother shenanigans.
I'm
I
still
know
checking.
last I know last time you went to Kigali and you entertained me with showing me Davido's entertaining and performance. Can you
I'm going
please
to I'm gonna check.
um
I'm still weighing my options.
I'll try and print you on your calendar.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right.
Mama, you take care.
Thank
Lots of
you.
love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much. And I'm so
welcome.
excited that you also watch Game of Thrones. So excited. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're
All
welcome.
right. Okay. Let's stick with Ezra. Ezra, you're welcome. How are you? Ezra, you have to unmute. Ezra, you have to unmute. I'm trying to unmute you, but I can't.
Yeah, Glory.
Hi. You're welcome. How are you?
Fine. This will be the actual first time that I will talk to with you live successfully.
I know, because there was a time that we're going to talk and the connection was so bad and we couldn't even talk. I'm happy. I'm happy this is happening finally. You're
Yeah, I'm
welcome.
excited for you reviewing this Game of Thrones. When I saw that, I was just so happy and elated. So
Okay.
this is one of those movies that I have in my system right in my uni days.
Yeah.
So I remember like when I was in 400 level, that is 2019. That was when the last season was airing. That was
Mm-hmm.
when I have to download and start from the beginning. Although I've been hearing Game of Thrones, the sound, you know those sound now. Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what is this movie all about? All about. So I just have to like download from the beginning. And that is when I got to know that I've watched a clip about Jamie like throwing
Yeah.
and Bran out of the window. I say, oh, so this is the movie they're talking about. So this movie
Mm.
has been in my like I was watching it during that time like a project. Like after
Yeah.
the download, I have to download the subtitle, even though I know it was in English, just to learn words. So that movie actually, I really learned many things there, like the vocabularies, it even increased more of my
Yes.
vocabularies during that
Mm.
Game of Thrones. Yeah. So regarding the villain, I will go with Joffrey first, just like you said, that he
Yeah.
commands fear, not respect. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is one thing I just like about the villain is that fear. Like people will
Yes.
be shivering when everything is being melted out. Although even though we know he was psychopath and
Mm.
many things like Littlefinger actually outsmart him because he really used him in his grand scheme of things to
Yeah.
get him killed. So now you know Littlefinger needed Jeffrey to be like that for two main reasons. One, because you know, as Joffrey was a psychopath, he will always be standing against him for him to the Iron Throne. You know, it was just a game. Everybody wants to be in the Iron Throne, so you have to use scapegoat for Joffrey murder, and the right person he will choose will be Sansa because
Mm.
he exactly know that exactly know what to do by pinning that everybody will look at Sansa as the person who killed him.
Yes.
So that was where his smartness, like Littlefinger. So Littlefinger actually give me that vibe of the villain after Joffrey. I just like him that way, one way or the reason. And for him to act that part, you know, according to what I was reading about Joffrey, this after that game, it really actually messed with him because like most people really hated him for that.
People
Like
really hated
this
him.
villain,
Yeah. They
yes.
trolled him. Yeah.
So
They trolled
for him
him.
to even play that part to that part that people hated him, that means he's actually a good actor. So my
Yeah.
second
He did
person
an excellent.
would be the Littlefinger. Littlefinger, yeah. So Littlefinger actually like he did many things like that actually get him from the grass to grace, that is to the top. Like in
Yes.
that part where he was playing the game with Cecil Lannister. I know you've said something like that in your channel when it was like
Yeah.
power is power.
Yes.
And that part, Like I
It's like
actually
knowledge is power.
I went by, yeah, knowledge is power, and he actually showed him that power is power. So he actually uses his wisdom, like seen as a common man. He tried to want to be in every business, in
Yeah.
all the people that have their stake power in the game. Yeah, so I
Mm.
don't actually have much. I'm just like excited just talking today in your channel. So I just have those two villains. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And oh my God, I am so happy and grateful that you were able to speak today. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, let's speak with fun. Blessing. Blessing, come and shower us with your wealth of knowledge.
Hi, Glory.
Hi. Blessing was just firing me with all the names. I loved it. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say I'm very, very excited to speak about this Game of Thrones series because you're the one who encouraged me to actually watch the series. I've been hearing about the show, but I've not really been interested to watch it. But when you said we're going to have a live and talk about it, I decided to watch it, and I was happy I watched it because it's actually really interesting. So,
I love recommending things to people and people liking it. I have this very annoying friend that every time I recommend things to him, he will watch it and then he'll come and be acting like, I didn't like it. So when people watch what I recommend and they give good reviews, I'm happy. So I'm happy you liked it.
yeah, it was a very good recommendation because even after the Big Brother show, I was like, what am I going to watch now? What am I going to watch? But when you recommended it, it's like it's really a nice way to spend your time. So I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I so I enjoyed it. All right, so let's start with the first villain, Ramsey Bolton. So about Ramsey Bolton, I want to say before after when he conquered Winterfell, his
Mm.
father His father named him Ramsey Bolton, so he was no longer a bastard at that point, after when he had
Mhm.
conquered Winterfell. So to me, I felt like he was threatened because he knows that he's not the legitimate child, and if his
Mm.
stepmother gives birth to a son, he's going to be the rightful heir
Yes.
of bearing the name Lord Bolton, and so that's why he murdered them and massacred everybody. That was really kind of, I don't know the word to put, but I was so shocked that he actually fed his stepmother and her baby to his house. Like it's as if he has no iota of humanity in him. The fact that
At
like he's
all.
not even exiled them or something. He fed them to his house. That was, but the fact that I really hated him for what he did to Theon Greyjoy, even though I knew that yes, he
Hi.
betrayed the Starks, but I felt like that was too much. Turning him
Ah,
from Theon to Rick, that was
ah,
too much. That was, I
he,
hated Theon, but I now wish that for him. I felt bad for
oh my God.
Theon.
Yeah.
Theon
Yeah.
completely forgot who he was. Like he drained this guy mentally up to the point that his sister even came to save him. He refused. I was like, Jesus. I
That
hated Theon,
scene.
but that was too much
You just
for him.
reminded me of that whole situation. Ah, traumatizing.
So traumatizing. Also, at the point where I was like, I thought that like Joffrey was the worst of them all, but the point where Ramsey did whatever he did to Theon, and then he still came to eat sausage in front of him. I was like, hold my sausage. I was like, jeez, this guy.
Do
I
you
was
know?
like, he's
Do
really
you know that
mad.
Theon thought that it was his manhood that Ramsay was feasting on?
Yes, that's what Theon thought. And he was like, no, you don't think I'm a barbarian in sausage.
Yeah, the mental
Jeez.
fuckery.
That was wild. I felt so bad for Theon. Even though he betrayed the Starks, I had never wished for him to end that way. Rick, he was, I don't know, he completely forgot his identity, forgot everything about him. Anyways, that's enough about Ramsey Bolton. The next villain was Cersei. I don't know if I'm taking them in the correct. No, it was Joffrey. All right, Joffrey Baratheon.
Yes.
Joffrey, from the moment Joffrey began to torment Sansa, I just hated him because How can you behead somebody's father and you take her to the spike to watch it? It was so annoying. I was like, if I'm to enter this series right now, it's like I'll push him. Sansa wanted to actually push him off wherever they were standing. It was the hound that came and held her back, not to push him.
Yes.
Because he behead somebody's father after promising her that if her father confesses that he is the rightful heir to the throne, they're going to forgive him and send him to the Night's Watch. Even though I knew that there was no way Joffrey was going to do that, but I did not expect him to torment Sansa like that for the rest of her life. Even when whatever happened at the Red Wedding with Robb Stark, Joffrey was at a point that he always just wanted to use every opportunity he has to torment Sansa. He wanted Rob's head to be served to her on her wedding. Like it's bad enough that she has heard the whatever happened to her brother
Mm.
and her mother. You want to rub it in. You want to actually rub it in by serving his head on her wedding. And it was Tyrion that actually stopped him from doing that. But he still
He would
found a
have
way
done
to.
it.
Yeah, he would have done it if Tyrion did not actually stop him. And that's why I love Tyrion for one thing, for the way he actually dealt with um Joffrey. The way he
Mm.
dealt with him. There was this scene where I watched where they were coming back from King's Landing and the masses attacked them. And then now they threw the dumb cowpea on Joffrey. Joffrey was like, I'll have their heads all, kill them all. Then Tyrion was like, you fool! You fool! They dumped cowpea on you and you want to kill them all? They are hungry. Then now Joffrey was like, I am the king. You can't say that. I am the king. Tyrion now slapped him now. Tyrion was like, and now I have struck the king. Did my wrist fall off? Did my hand fall off my wrist? I laughed at that part. Like I was laughing in this house. My parents were
My
thinking I was
husband.
going. I have struck the king as my hand fall off my wrist. It was so funny.
The
I
banter between those
was
two people was one of my favorite things.
just laughing. Oh my god, I really love Joffrey and Tyrion. That's a relationship. I loved it. I really love it.
Hmm.
I like this. Tyrion actually dealt with Joffrey for me, even though Joffrey was doing the most, but I'm happy that it was a Tyrion because
Yes.
he annoying. And then the next person I like to talk about is Littlefinger, aka Lord Baelish.
Yeah.
Um, I would say I don't hate Lord Baelish as a villain. Okay, like okay, he's my favorite villain because he's the person that actually started this issue between the Lannisters and the Starks. And I never caught it right up to the point where Lysa Tully, the sister of
Catherine
Sansa's
Stark.
mother. Yes, Lysa. Lysa Tully, now when she was confessing that Lord Baelish was the one who actually told her to write a letter to her sister telling her to be wary of the Lannisters after giving her
Mm.
poison to kill her husband John Arryn. So that they would start suspecting the Lannisters and everything. So it was Lord Baelish that actually started this rift between the Starks and the Lannisters.
Yeah.
That was like I never caught this right up to season 8 or so, season 7. I think so. I never caught this. Like I was like, Lord Baelish is a smooth criminal. He's the definition of a smooth criminal because you
Yeah.
don't even see him coming. You don't see him coming. Like I
Yeah.
never thought for once that he was behind John Arryn's death or behind this rift between the Starks and the Lannisters. I never for once saw it that way.
Did
So
you notice he
I
uses
was
people to do the dirty work?
exactly. And he has this way, he knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to, like what he was telling Sansa, I study their motives and know how now to use their motive now to manipulate them. That's what he does.
And she learned very well from him.
Exactly. She learns very well. And I love the way she clocked his game. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like Littlefinger did not even see her coming. Littlefinger knew that okay, he has succeeded in turning what Sansa against Ira. He did not
Hmm.
even know, like, he didn't even catch the glimpse. Like, he was so shocked when Sansa actually put him on the hotspot. And That scene, that very scene was so refreshing to watch because even when I was
Yeah.
watching the whole build up between Arya and Sansa, I was like, I cannot believe that Sansa is this dumb. Like she's not reading between the lines. I was really pissed wherever I was sitting. But now the point where that plot twist came out where she actually clocked Littlefinger, I was so happy. I was actually shouting as if I
Mm.
won lottery. I was so happy that she has successfully clocked Lord Baelish. And so
Yeah.
Lord Baelish remains my favorite villain because he's not, I don't think he was actually wicked. Like he wasn't wicked, he wasn't good, he was just using everybody to get to where he wants to get or to achieve his motives
Yes.
or goals or something. So I don't think he's actually wicked because the time when he visited Tywin Lannister at Black Castle, he met Arya Stark. He would have reported Arya Stark to Tywin or taken her back to King's Landing where Cersei was looking for her at that
Mm.
point in time, but he didn't. So I
Mm.
don't think he was really a wicked villain or a good villain, but he
Yeah.
played the game. The title of the
Mm.
series is Game of Thrones. He played the game. And
Mm.
who's the next person? Cersei. Cersei Lannister. To me, Cersei Lannister is a mad queen in this series because she did a lot. But like you
Yeah.
said, I admire her love for her kids, Marcella, Tommen, and Joffrey. For her, it
Mm.
was the world against her and her kids,
Yeah.
and so she did everything so far as it concerns her kids and Jamie Lannister. These are the people that she loved the most of all her heart, and she hated Tyrion Lannister because, according to her, Tyrion killed their mother upon coming to Earth and everything. Tyrion was the only person that did not regard Tyrion as a monster was Jamie Lannister.
Yeah.
That was the only person that actually considered him, and that it was so emotional. The part where Tyrion, when I discovered Cersei and Jamie under the rocks after when Daenerys had burned the whole of King's Landing, and he was crying. I
Mm.
was like, oh, that was the only person that actually treated him like a human being and not like a monster.
Yes.
So Cersei, even though she was really annoying, but that work of that is the work of atonement, the work of shame. That particular scene, to me, it was refreshing to watch and satisfying because I was like, yes, it's her payback for everything she has been doing to people. Then the nun or whosoever that was behind her, she was like, shame, shame,
Oh my God.
shame.
I
Jeez.
love what she did to that nun. Ah, I loved it.
She's
It was a
done.
very
She's
satisfying
done.
end.
And there's one thing too I also love about Cersei is the way she speaks, the way she articulates. She uses this soft tone, this airy tone, but it strikes you really deep and strong. You feel it like a threat, like you feel that she's coming for you. But
Yes.
the way she says it, I love the way she articulates, the way she puts her words together. I actually love that about Cersei. And she kept her promise. She actually told that nun or whosoever that her face was going to be the last thing she sees before she dies. And she kept to her
Mm.
promise.
Exactly.
So that's it
Crazy.
about Cersei. Who else again? I'm speaking about Ramsey. Okay, Jamie Lannister. I think that's the last. Okay, there's Jamie Lannister and there's Daenerys. Jamie Lannister. Jamie Lannister at the beginning of the series, since from when he pushed Brandon Stark, I was very pissed at him because he wished the child like he really wanted to buy Brandon. Like even when he heard that the child had survived, it was like the child is going to be a cripple and it's going to be mercy they'll be doing to him by just ending it for him because living as a cripple
Yes.
and being alive is, you know. So he wanted to actually end Brandon Stark, but Brandon didn't even say anything about what he saw and all of that. But I like the new leaf he took. It actually gives this vibe that even though a person is this kind of way mean or wicked, there's still a possibility for that person to change or take a new
Mm-hmm.
leaf. So I was happy
Mm-hmm.
that he was able to change, and his changes came from when he met with Brienne of Tarth. I can say she's
Mm.
the one that kind of like changed him because
Yeah.
she kind of gave him the opportunity, right, to like speak to her and give his own side of the story. His nickname, Kingslayer, actually came from him stabbing the Mad King at the back, but nobody actually knew the story or the background story, everything. When he had opened up to
Yes,
Brienne
why
and
he
told
did.
Brienne that the Mad King wanted to burn the whole of King's Landing with what that fire they can't it to. He has one name like that. That green fire thing. They wanted to, but he
Dragon
wanted to
fire.
burn the whole of exactly.
Mm.
He wanted to burn the whole of King's Landing with that. And even when he had pleaded with him, the Mad King asked for his father's head, so he could not give his father head, so he decided to slay the king, and that's when his name Kingslayer came from.
Yes.
So from then on, he was able to explain his side of the story, and Brienne understood him, and I feel like that's when he started taking a new leaf, changing and trying to do better. Even though he went back to his queen, it really shows that, like the way he said it throughout the series, he has loved only one person in his life,
Mm.
which is Cersei Lannister, and the both of them dying together was kind of cute and nice to watch, the both of them dying together. So
Yeah.
that's it.
All
And
right.
Daenerys, like I said earlier, to me, Daenerys is not, she's not a villain. The mother of dragons, the unburnt, the breaker of chains. To me, she's not a villain to me, because I feel like she turned that way because a lot has been taken away from her. Cersei actually dealt with Daenerys, to be sincere, executing Missandei. That was that was kind
That
of
was very
that was
brutal.
too much to watch. That was too much to watch. So to me, even though I did not expect Daenerys to burn the whole of King's Landing, Tyrion was shocked as well. He just, after they had healed and rang the bells, Daenerys is going to like just stop and everything will go the way when that's why I don't actually like the way Game of Thrones ended. Even though it ended at the end of the day, it's as if there was peace, but it's as if there was an emptiness in everything, because it ended in such a way that okay, there's peace, Bran Stark is the king, and as from this day onwards, kings will be chosen, will no longer follow bloodline and everything. But it was this emptiness. It was just as if it was just empty. It wasn't really
Mm.
impactful. Up to today, I'm
Yeah.
still trying to heal from how it ended because I'm not so satisfied about how it
You're not
ended. But
satisfied, right?
I'm not.
You think
I'm
that?
not at
I think
all.
I think next week Saturday we're going to analyze. Um we're going to analyze character development. All right.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is one TV show that has, like, it gives you some sort of overview into the
Uh-huh.
growth of the key
Okay.
characters in a very beautiful way. I think the show lasted for, is it 11 years? Because it's like they were
Yeah.
shooting every year with the same characters. So there
Yeah.
was real life growth happening with, especially the Starks
Yes.
children.
Yes.
And
You can actually
then
see the
in the
growth.
series, you are seeing the growth. So when we do character
Exactly.
development, we're going to talk about Tyrion Lannister's growth. There
Uh-huh.
is a very significant growth about the man. An example of that, of the multitude of it all, but an example of that which is very significant is Tyrion Lannister went from being a bookworm to becoming
Yeah.
superstitious. Now, what do I mean? On the show, they spoke a lot about the gods, the seven gods of the seven kingdoms, right? Tyrion Lannister
That's true.
he was never a believer of the gods. And one of his grievances with the gods was why he was born the way he was born. Why people saw him
Yes.
as a monster, why people blamed him for killing his mother because of
His
his big
mother.
head, you know. So he never
Yes.
really liked the gods, he never regarded the gods. But when he met Daenerys and started
Yes.
experiencing her, he started believing in the prophecies and in the gods and most of those things that he had read. He started believing. So he moved from being, um, let me call it, an atheist in that world into becoming a follower,
A bit.
a believer. Yes. So he never
Exactly. That's
thought
true.
that Daenerys could do what she did. And when she did it, he was shocked. He was the most shocked because he believed himself to be very knowledgeable and widely
Yes,
traveled and also a good judge of character, you know.
exactly.
So he was
Yes,
completely blindsided by our awesomeness. You know, when you see somebody that got burnt inside fire and the person came out again like phoenix from the ashes, in your mind, you're like, oh my God, everything I've been reading, I'm literally seeing it playing out live and directing from me. So he could not believe it. So he was really disappointed in himself. Yeah. So next week, we're
yes.
going to do analysis of the character development because there's a lot to talk about, you know, each and every single one of the major characters of the show.
I'll be so excited to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you, Glory.
Thank you
Thank you so
so
much for
much.
this
And I'm glad you
opportunity.
enjoyed the show.
I
Thank
did.
you.
I did.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's speak with Essie. Essie, you're welcome. Guys, if you want to join the conversation,
Hi,
please
Claire.
click the link in the comment section. Essie, you're welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're
Okay,
welcome.
okay, awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to give you your flowers. I'll start by giving you your flowers. I've been a silent viewer for such a long time. I first found your channel during the Pepper season, actually, of Vivi Niger,
Wow.
because I went to the same secondary school with Kimopra, though she was my senior. So that year, we're like, oh, Senior Chinonso is a big brother. I want to see what she's up to. I live in Canada, I live abroad. So I was like, oh, how can I get to know about this show? So I came on YouTube, I Googled, like, oh, Vivi Niger updates, and I found your channel. And I've
Thank
been
you.
hooked since then. I would watch every season, and even during the off season, like we are on now. And your growth has been so inspiring. And I pray this is just the beginning, and you keep going to even
Thank you
higher
so
places.
much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
so no problem. So in terms of Game of Thrones, it's actually one of my favorite series of all times as well.
Mhm.
Similar to Ezra, I also got to know about it just before the final season aired in 2019, and a lot of my colleagues. I was doing my internship then. A lot of my colleagues were talking about the show, so I binge watched it just before the series finale, and then I was able to watch it with them. So my favorite villain definitely was Cersei. Similar to what you said, almost everything she did, I think, was so iconic. Of course, she was not a good person by any means,
Yeah.
but I thoroughly enjoyed watching her. I really admired her love for her children, and yeah, I truly enjoyed watching her and everything her character brought to the show.
Yeah.
Conversely, a question you didn't ask, but my least favorite was actually Ramsay. I didn't enjoy watching him whatsoever. Like I didn't think he had any redeeming qualities. Like I think he was just bad, torturing people from start to finish. So personally, I would say he was my least favorite because villains. I'm like, oh, there are people like with. Personally, I'm like, oh, I like you have a love hate relationship with them. You're like, oh, I love to hate watch them or something like that. But in terms of Ramsey, like there was no part of watching him that I loved doing.
Hey.
Yeah, that was me. I would say, but Cersei definitely my favorite. Someone you
Yeah.
didn't add as a villain that I would definitely add. I actually don't remember his name, but when I describe him, someone will probably know his name. I think he was
Mm.
the brother or stepbrother of the first king, something Baratheon. And basically, what made me put him as a villain, like he burnt his daughter. Like his daughter was called Shireen, and then there was a
Okay.
witch that told him to burn her at the stakes. The daughter, like half of her face was
So
covered by something.
Stannis
That
Baratheon. Oh
guy,
my
yes,
goodness.
I
That man
really,
was power hungry.
yep, that guy. I think he was a villain. He was another one I really disliked. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, my favorite was definitely Cersei. Least favorite Ramsay, and then I think Stannis should probably be somewhere down that list as well. But yeah, I do, and I love listening to like your analysis on just everything. And if you're looking for more shows to watch, I would definitely recommend maybe The Traitors, The Mole, Survivor. These are some of my faves. So if you ever watch them or a season of them, because they have so many seasons, I would definitely
Mm,
love to hear your thoughts on those as well. I think there are also things
nice.
you would enjoy, like the strategy of those kind of games. And yeah,
Yeah.
hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You see, you just mentioned the traitor, and I'm laughing because there's someone that's literally on my neck like this to watch the traitor. And I've been pushing it away, like, okay, I'll watch it, I'll watch it. Person's like, oh, have you seen the trailer? Have you seen the trailer? So I'm sure the person is actually watching this live right now. The person will be like, oh, you see, I told you. So I will watch
Yes,
it.
I
I'll
think
watch
you'll be
it.
hooked. You'll get hooked. Like it's such an interesting show. I think some of the stuff that BB Nigeria is missing in terms of the strategy, like those intense
Yeah.
strategy, Traitors definitely has all that. It's not an emotional game. People play the
Mm,
game, a hardcore game, and like listening to your analysis of BB Nigeria over the years, I know you're someone who enjoys gameplay, so I'm sure you'd
yes.
love that show. Yes.
I will watch it. I'll watch it. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I will watch it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, guys. I don't know if there's anybody else that wants to contribute anything, because to be honest, today's live was just for us to talk about the villains of the show. I mean, you see, one thing that really pained me about Game of Thrones is the show aired during a time when social media was not powerful. Yeah. Imagine Game of Thrones airing in this current day and age. Trust me, with the whole Gen Z movement going on, I am telling you for free that Twitter is going to be eating it up. People are going to be trending and trending and trending and trending and dragging the cast members, yeah, and it's definitely going to make for good conversation. But unfortunately, I think it was 2018, 2019, 2019. Obviously the last season was released, and it was a global frenzy. It was a global frenzy. I tried to do an analysis of it on my channel. Then my YouTube channel was still a baby channel. I did not have a lot of subscribers, so there weren't a lot of people that were actually, I didn't really have a lot of people. I didn't really have the audience. So it was kind of sad because I was so excited about the show and I really wanted a community where I could discuss it. But we didn't really have that much of it, aside platforms like Reddit, right? But now, I don't know why they are not bringing it back. I don't know why. It's just like what's the name of this show that I just finished watching? Scandal. It's just like Scandal. When Scandal was a thing back then, it made for crazy conversations. Think about 12 years ago or thereabouts. It made for crazy conversations. And then just like 2 months ago, they brought it back to Netflix America. So I think people in America can watch Scandal now. They had to bring it back. So I'm so pained why the creators of Game of Thrones are not sort of looking for a way to make a collaboration with huge platforms like Netflix, or maybe Prime Video or any other streaming platform, just so that the show will be easily available to as many people as possible that want to watch it. House of Dragon is also streaming, right? But I think I mentioned that one is available on Showmax. I watched, okay, I think for the past 3 years now, I've been restreaming and restreaming Game of Thrones on Showmax. Although the last time I watched it, they said they were going to take it off, right? So that was the last time they were going to be airing it. So I don't know if it's still there. I'm going to check. But House of Dragons, that's the sequel. Yes. Thank you, Ezra. That's a sequel to Game of Thrones. But I'm sorry to say, but House of Dragons is not as exciting as Game of Thrones. When they first started with the first season, it carried a lot of banger, a lot of rave. But then I watched it and I'm not really feeling it like that. And maybe it's because, they take like every 2 years to recreate a new season. So that long wait, I think it gets me really tired. I get tired of waiting. So I'm still kind of waiting. Probably in the next 6 years, or maybe in the next 7 years, they will be done releasing all the seasons. And maybe by then, we will now be able to stream everything all in one sitting, just like I'm doing now with Game of Thrones. But I really do wish and hope that the producers of the show, the owners of the show, that they would consider putting it on Netflix, because I don't know, Netflix has such a huge presence globally that anything that appears on Netflix, it's like there's this global acceptance of that show or movie, on Netflix. So I'm really just hoping that it puts Game of Thrones again on Netflix so that a lot of people will have access to it, or maybe any other streaming platforms. But just put it on. Okay, yeah. Sadiq said there's HBO Max. Yes, just put it on a platform that is readily available to people globally. HBO Max. I don't know if HBO Max is readily available to viewers in Nigeria or Africa as a whole. I am not sure. I don't know. But I know that Netflix is actually easily available. And of course, the Showmax. I don't know if Showmax is readily available to a global audience, but I know that Netflix, to some extent, has global reach. So I think they should bring it back. Yeah, HBO Max is not available in Nigeria. Yeah, exactly. But Netflix has some sort of global reach. So I think they should bring it back so that people can actually watch it because it's such a great show. It's a great show that will make for very interesting conversations, especially now that social media is very powerful. It will drive very, very interesting conversations like the one we're having right now, and I really want this generation to experience Game of Thrones because I feel like they really need to. They really need to. They really need to experience Game of Thrones. All right. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if there's anybody else that wants to say anything, but if there's nobody else, I'm going to be rounding up this live stream right now because as I said, basically, it was just to talk about the best or top villains of the Game of Thrones show. Next week, Saturday, we will be looking at character development, all right? The Stark family, we're going to analyze their characters. Right in front of our eyes, we watched every single member of the Stark family grow from a young age to adulthood or to their teen years. And we watched them do exploits. And then so many other characters as well on the show. So next week, Saturday, we're going to be analyzing some of the characters, the key characters, mostly focusing on their development and their evolutions. All right. There's a lot to talk about in that regard. So I look forward to having that conversation with all of you next week, Saturday. But for now, in the absence of any other contribution, I'm going to be ending today's live. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you joining today's conversation. In a way, I was kind of worried, like, are this going to turn up? Am I going to have people of like interest? Am I going to have people that also watch the show? But I was just really excited that, some of you have actually taken our time to watch the show. And I cannot wait for us to meet again next week, Saturday, where we properly analyze some of the characters. All right. All of that said, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much once again for turning out today. I'll see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah. And of course, I will try to make videos. All right. I'll try to make videos on my two channels this new week. So help me God. Okay. Thank you all so much once again. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and bye.